Hey everybody, welcome to the video. This time is the Mezco 112 Collective Cyclops. Let's get started. This is actually a really dope piece. It's something different to the game. It's not that we haven't gotten X-related characters, but this is the first of a few that we're going to get that... Oh wait, is this the first? Let me double check. Yeah, we had Glow in the Dark, but I don't remember if this is actually the first light up one. But the point is, this one has a light up feature. So it's really different and something to bring to the table. And engineering wise, there's a lot of new cool things that kind of went into this that made me kind of just look twice like, oh, wow, okay. Didn't expect this. So let's get started. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the look and then the articulation, which kind of go hand in hand with me. And it's crazy because this is basically the classic look. Well, the classic Jim Lee look, because there are those who classic is different for certain people. You can talk about the John Byrne stuff when he still had the over top and the dark blue and the trunks. And this is Jim Lee blue costume Cyclops minus the yellow shorts. Now, for me, personally, I don't need the yellow shorts. It's not for me. But I know tons of people like that. So I can picture a million incoming trunks from a million different customizers. So shout out to those people who are going to add that extra accessory for those that want it. But let's talk about the look. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm going to slightly move over the chest piece. And you can see that it makes an X across Cyclops' chest. And then under it is over it is the yellow pouches and things like that. And all the really other cool stuff. But it's crazy because I never realized that even in the cartoon, that could have been an X as a blue piece if it wasn't all one piece. So you stylize it, you make an X on the chest, kind of modernizing it. On the hands, we actually have a cool X logo. So it's kind of X all over the place. And as usual, an X gonna give it to you joke is in there somewhere. And I'll find a way to add that in. But look-wise, I like this new modern look. It definitely has something nice to bring to the table. And it definitely floats and works well for Cyclops. Now we're going to jump into articulation. And I'm going to skip the head because I'm going to go into that in a second. But as far as the arms go, arms can go up pretty well. They can rotate all the way up without any issue. And this is actually very important for Cyclops because he needs to be able to touch his visor, which I know many people are going to ask that question on whether or not he's double jointed. And the answer is yes. As you can see here, he can touch his visor with closed fist and it can sit flush, which is very important. Then we have a rotating side to side, and we have a small amount of ab crunch that goes a tiny bit forward. And at first I know that's going to seem disappointing for some, but when I go back to the head, you'll figure out what I'm talking about. The arms have a really nice Mezco joint that actually rotates all the way around. Very nice, very nice. Plug that back in. As far as the lower torso goes, you get a little bit of swivel here. The leg can go up this far. Legs are double jointed. There is a thigh swivel as well. Very, very nice. And there is very nice ankle pivot. Now, the reason why I talked about doing the head last is because there's something different about Cyclops that is different from every other piece. Now, when you go to pop off his head, right, there is another joint here that there is no neck swivel joint. And the reason why that is because, and I'll get into that when I get to the effect parts, is that it's for the LED. Now, to unhinge the LED, what you do is you slightly turn it to what is going to be, it seems like it's my right hand, but you're turning it that way, to the right, towards the right, and it slides up. Now, you're going to get this neck joint here that is going to support the head and the weight of the optic blast effects. Now, this also covers the LED. Now, to take out the LED, what you do is, and this part always gets me, you kind of just pop this off ever so gently. And there's going to be two batteries here that you're going to slide in. And you just slide them in from the top piece. Oop, let me get some light on that. Whoops. You're going to slide those in. And once those are in, you can pop the shell cover back on. Hear that snap. And you can turn it on. And as you can see, there is the LED light. Now, I can just pop the head on now to show you guys. But, as you can see here, it lights up very well. When you rotate the head left and right, it almost looks like he has that swooning visor effect, which is very, very nice. Now, I'm going to pop the head off real fast so I can pop it on the body and you guys can see how it looks. And you just repeat the process. You tuck it back in sideways and then you snap it till you hear that little sound, a little click. And voila, now we have Cyclops with glowing eyes. And because of this, it actually takes away from a ton of the ab crunch he normally would have, and it prevents him from looking down. So that is one of the drawbacks of this, but Cyclops doesn't really look down on people now, does he? You know, that's what Slim does. He looks up. He sees the best in you. It can rotate left. It can rotate right. And you have to be careful when you're rotating him towards his left. You may pull the joint out. So that way you'll see how you end up taking out the whole piece. So be careful with that. Lock that back in place. The head can turn right. It can actually look up a little. Not a whole lot. But with being able to move the ab crunch backwards, it gives you a little bit of extra wiggle room. Because of this, it makes the neck sit a little higher. But Slim always had a long neck. So, you know, it's whatever to me. I really like this piece. Now, let me cut these lights out in the foreground so you guys can see that visor effect. Make sure it looks really cool. You can see there, it looks very, very nice. One more thing I'm going to show you is that, cut these lights back on, the visor is also removable, so you can actually see what's going on there. And you can replace it with the smoking visor effect, which works with all the LEDs. The smoking visor effect is actually really nice. It adds that extra oomph to it. Let me see. Voila. It doesn't light up or emit through, but it does look very nice with that effect. Then we're going to talk about the small optic blast. Oop, got it upside down. Like I said, with this being done, you actually can hold up the weight of the optic blast. Now, this one doesn't seem too much of an issue. It's a small one. It has no weight to it. So when you're using this one, it's like, whatever. It's not a big deal, right? This is going to be the one that you're kind of just like, oh, I can do all the cool poses, the small optic blast, and things like that. All really cool stuff. Now, the real issue that you're having is when you do quarter circle forward with 2 punches and Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter, you want to be able to really be able to hold that weight up, right? Let's say you want to do that super crazy optic blast. Now, I want to make sure this is tight on there, so there's no excuses for anything. And I'm going to leave this on because I want to see how far the light emits through the larger optic blast. Where the small one, it does pretty okay. I'm going to see how it travels through this one. Now, as you can see here, it creates it from drooping down. If you pick the head up, it actually holds up as well, too. And this is one of the things I want to talk about, where you sacrifice a little bit of neck articulation and you are now able to get that bang for your buck optic blast effect. I want to see how far it goes. So if we're talking about the optic blast effect, it does not travel far. But it does have a nice little look to it. It looks really good. I think it's very nice to have this and to keep it from, I think long-term display-wise, for those of you who display long-term, this is going to be a great piece to actually have at all times because you'll never have to worry about losing out or it falling or the head drooping down or missing out from the weight. It actually holds up really well. So just like that, you have a Cyclops that can, shoot in any direction. This is really nice. It's a nice option for those of you who didn't get the Marvel Legends or, you're going to wait this one out until you get the Mafex or even get both if you're a huge Cyclops fan. This is super duper cool. Now, let's go and talk about the rest of these hands. Now, I keep using closed fists, but let's talk about the other hands. You obviously get the hands for his visor. As I sit here and make him look like a Cyclops. So I'm going to put some sort of visor on him. I just don't know which one yet. Let's go with a regular visor. Right? Let's pop that on. Looks really cool. Shit, man. This is nice. Excuse my language. Sorry about that. Then you get 2 open action hands. These don't really hold anything, but these are the more of the optic, these are more of the action hands if you want to do kung fu or anything like that. Or to make it look like he's hopping over things from cover fire. You already saw the 2 closed fists. And he comes with 1 sort of karate chopping hand. And as you see, you get the optic blast hands. Now, I'm going to leave the LED on. I'm actually going to stand him straight up. And I'm going to talk about the other head that you get, which is the screaming head. Then we're going to jump into those size comparisons. Now, the screaming head is just as nice. Actually, let me pull him back out. Got to slowly lift that off. The screaming head is equally just as nice. And the visor is also swappable on this head as well. So don't think it's just limited to one head. The visor's swappable on both. This is a genius engineering here. They definitely made it work. I like the sculpt on the Screaming head. It's really nice. I know tons of people wanted this and got it from different customizers, and now you get it as a stock head on the Mezco one. It's really cool. Behold, optic blast. You get your good 20 hits on, and then you do the one that changes directions, and then next thing you know, you do the Cyclops 99 hit combo. For those of you that are old enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not just rambling on. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're going to stand him straight up, and we're going to talk about some size comparisons. Now, I went through the luxury of going to try and find as many as my X-Men as possible, because I would never hear the end of it if I didn't compare it to some X-Men. So that's what we're going to do here. One thing I want to talk about, though, these are also glued onto the suit. I believe somebody asked me on Instagram about this, so I'm just going to mention it here as well. These are glued into the suit, so if you're going to remove it, you got to remove the whole thing, right? Let's stand Slim straight up. And first things first, we are going to compare it to a ton of different X-Men and X-Men related characters and Marvel Legends and things like that. But I'm going to try to get these big characters out of the way first by setting them in the background. Here he is next to Juggernaut. Here he is next to Apocalypse. Marvel Legends I know I do have, and that's how he looks next to him. Here he is next to his son Cable, which I think is a really good fit. I think Cable should be bigger than his dad, because it's always seemed like Cable was larger than life in 7 different ways. And then why not Mr. Sinister and Cyclops and Colossus? Sorry. So here we have Mr. Sinister, and I chose Mr. Sinister because you constantly see him bickering with Sinister. He always wants that Summers DNA. So I think they work pretty well, right? Cyclops is tall, but these are all taller characters. So, all right, let's get you guys out of here. Make space for some other people, right? Here's how he looks like next to a Marvel Legends Hulk. I didn't have time to find my SHF one, looking for all these legends. Here he is next to Colossus, which X-Men wise, I think he looks excellent with a bunch of X-Men. Here he is next to Archangel, which uses that standard Bucky cap mold, right? So we know how he stands next to standard Marvel Legends. I'm going to take a second to fix Beast. I'm going to do it on camera so it doesn't feel like you're alone, guys. Right? So as you can see, Beast is clearly going to be wider and girthier, but probably around the same height as him. And wow, I have not played with this Beast enough because I have not broken in any of these joints. Shame on me. So here he is next to Beast, which can't hold up right now, so sorry about that. Right? Move these guys out of the way. We'll leave those guys in the background for now. Here he is next to Magneto, his brother of the Mutant Days. So it's custom cape by Harker Customs. So in case of you asking, I've said it out loud, Harker Customs. Here he is next to the tiny little Wolverine. That is Tiny Little Wolverine. This is the Marvel Legends one. And I'm going to leave Wolverine out so I can compare him while I do his Mezco counterpart. I think these two are a very good fit for each other in the different size comparisons. And one last X-Men for right now. Well, no, I'm wrong. There's more X-Men. Here he is next to Nightcrawler. Him and the Elf. Right? So let's move all these guys out of the way. And then we're going to mix it up a little bit more. Here he is next to Thor. And Thor has a separate head that I've swapped on from the modern young Thor. Here he is. Oh, I'm already going to leave him there. Here he is with a modern Revoltech Iron Man. You can see Iron Man, if you put them next to each other, Iron Man's about the same size as him. But I was trying to get to Storm, who I constantly was forgetting. And the reason why that was because I was trying to get her joints to come down. But I think I've remembered now her joints were kind of frozen in place and I never got a chance to heat those up. So I'm going to stand her up manually by using my hands. And see that she would be a little bit shorter than that you see now, but that one leg won't come down, right? That's how she looks. And then for those of you that wants to see the Deadpools and the Wolverines, we're going to compare them right now. So, if you want to try your Mafex Deadpool, here's how he looks next to him, in case you want to do a team up. And then there's also the Mezco Deadpool, which is around the same height, which works pretty well. Then we have a Mezco Wolverine with special shoulder pads from R2K Troopers. So as we can see, if you want to mix and match your X-Men, you actually can do that pretty well here, which is actually pretty dope, right? I think all of these kind of work, but if you want it to be perfect, I think the Marvel Legends Wolverine is the perfect tiny man height for the angry Canadian. Here he is mixing up with some other lines, show you what's going on. Here he is next to a Lightning Collections Green Ranger. I said Green, wow. Green Ranger. Here he is with a DC Essentials Cyborg Superman. And this line is actually really, really tall. And I still can't get this foot, man. I don't know what it is. Something about that foot. Here he is with an articulated Icons Ninja. Doo-doo-doo. And Slim is a pretty tall guy, but man, he towers over these guys. But they work as a lot of background stuff, even if you're doing some forced perspective. Here he is with an SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Kuga. And that guy's tiny, right? And for those of you that do want to do your Saturday morning nostalgia crossover, here he is with Mayfex Spider-Man. And that's a really good combination between those two. And just in case you want to do the extracurricular crossover, here is the Mayfex Venom, which is going to look pretty short next to Cyclops. But, you know, it's pretty cool in retrospect, right? When you want to do that super classic team up from Saturday morning cartoons. And, if you want to mix it up with some other Mezcos, here is the Punisher. That's the comic book version, mixed up with some new parts. And here he's Gomez with my head on it. So you can see the height on him. And I think that covers just about all the height that I can do. I tried to cover as many X characters as possible. So I kind of was all over the place with this one. I really enjoy this Cyclops. It is a breath of fresh air and really cool things. And it's going to force me to try some new stuff with that optic blast stuff. Trying to make things shine. But I hope you enjoyed the photos at the end. I hope you found this informative, guys. But most of all, hope you do good, be good. Drink your water, guys. Later. Hey, guys. I had so much going on. I forgot to cover the fact that he comes with his cool bomber jacket. So let me do that real quick in this video before I get 8,000,000 dislikes, right? But yeah. So easily, you just pop those hands off. Arms through sleeves, and you do it ever so slowly because you don't want anything to get caught, right? Wiggle that in, wiggle that down. Arms backwards, and it's cool because it's a little bit easier when you know what you're doing. Just figure yourself putting on an actual jacket, right? By yourself. You rotate the arm up and through. And again, make sure you wiggle the arm all the way through because otherwise you won't get through anything, right? Let's put some nice hands on it so we can see what's going on. See how it looks with some hands on them. And it does zip up. So if you don't have tweezers, you probably should get some for this. Because that zipper is going to be really difficult if you have ham hands. Right? It also makes the neck look a little less elongated. And even with the double joints, the jacket does not hinder. Ooh, there we go. The jacket doesn't seem to hinder. So if you want to do bomber jacket psych, you can actually do it pretty well. Voila. Looks pretty good. And like I said, yes, it does zip up. So be a fashion model and be fashion psych. Hope you guys enjoyed. Added it on at the end. Don't go crazy on me, right? Don't be too hard. And guys, enjoy. Have a good one. Later.